Alright, I'm back. I'm going to try to get... So this is video number 2. I made a mistake in the last video, so this is a 2-part series now because I had to stop and correct my mistake before it cost me too much. The mistake I made is you were supposed to put pearlescent over the top of wet Cerakote. So your base layer is supposed to be wet, and then you're supposed to put it over the top. Well, I did a quick bake on a black, and then I went to put the pearlescent on, and of course that fucked it up. However, the nice thing is you do a quick bake, you can just add another layer of color. So that's what I did. So now that is a wet top layer on both of these. So let's see what we can do here. It's gonna get loud. Okay, I'm gonna put you on pause. We're baking. Okay, so real quick, I want to talk about what I did wrong there and what I did to fix it. When you use pearlescent, and I completely forgot this, because so there's two different techniques. When you're laying one color over another, you do a quick flash cure on the first color. It's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, something like that. Cerakote has a really great breakdown for how this shit works. But it's a few minutes, and then at like 150 or whatever, just to kind of dry that top layer out, and then you can lay the next layer of color over the top of it. That way the colors don't run, because you're not collecting so much wet, Cerakote that the colors end up running around. And typically if you're running one color over the other, then you have to put a high bake on it. You're creating some sort of like imagery. And, you use stencils, or you're, like if you're airbrushing like I do, That has an effect. But either way, it matters. It matters because you don't want the colors to run. And so, anyways, when you do pearlescent, you're putting the clear with the pearlescent over the top of a wet. So basically, they mix together. They're supposed to kind of mix together. I completely fucked that up. And I have no problem saying that. I completely fucked that up. But here's the thing. What did I do? Okay. I don't like the way this shirt looks on me. Nope. Didn't get better. Anyways. So here's what I did. Because you can put, once you've done a quick bake, you can put another coat of whatever color you want over the top of the color that you have there. So I just really quickly capped off my pearlescent, cleaned my gun, so that way there was no residual paints or anything left in there, or no residual Cerakote, right? Mixed up some black to the same specifications that I did the previous one. Did a quick top coat over the whole thing, so that way there was a wet base layer for the pearlescent to mix with. Now we will see how well that comes out. Now there are alternatives to this, to what I just stated. Like I could have just, since the Cerakote was dry, I could have just thrown everything out, cleaned off all of my equipment, re-sandblasted all the parts, started all over again. I don't want to do that. And I don't know that you want to do that. And it doesn't sound like fun, because that sounds like just wasted time and money. So instead, I opted for what I did, which was just to mix up some more black, lay it over the top of what's there. I actually think the flash bake is supposed to be at 150 for like 15 minutes or something like that. I don't know. Always look up the directions on the Cerakote website. I'm not gonna, but you should. Because I can remember this shit, generally speaking. Not always. Apparently. I remembered as soon as I sprayed. Because as soon as I sprayed it on there, you'll see, if you noticed in the last video, as soon as I sprayed it on there, I was like, what the fuck? Because it was like oil on water. It just bubbled up on the surface. It wasn't mixing with the previous, layer. And it clicked inside of my head. I was like, oh fuck, that's supposed to be wet. Why did I fucking flash bake this? Because I'm retarded today, apparently. Hey, I'm allowed to have my moments, okay? Y'all are allowed to have your moments. I don't come over to your house and fucking piss in your Cheerios because you fucking made a mistake. I'm not happy about it, but I'm gonna fucking own it. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have flash baked it. I should have left it wet. I completely forgot about that step, but rectified it. So we'll see. Now, every time I've applied pearlescent, I've noticed that like how do I put this? It's one of those colors, like you don't just spray it on and then it's there. Like every time I've applied it, and maybe Cerakote will fucking reach out and say, hey, you're fucking wrong, whatever. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe they'll tell me I'm right. You have to apply this like you do seasoning on food. Let me put it, this is the analogy I'm going to use. You apply the pearlescent like you would seasoning on food. You can lightly dust it. That'll give it a very light appearance. It'll be more of the background. It won't be as solid. Or you can basically go from light to thick, and you're just somewhere in the middle. And I think it has a lot to do with just the way that it lays down with the base coat. I don't know. All I know is that I've found that I think that it comes out better if I lay that shit on fucking like thick right off the bat, and then see where it's at. And you'll notice in the video where I did the back plate, and then I put it up, and then I did the main slide, and I laid it on thick onto the slide, and then I went back and I did the back plate again because it hadn't come out right. Now I don't know if some of that has to do with maybe the mix, because I mixed it before I started. Like I literally like mixed it up really well before I started. Maybe that first spray coming out wasn't quite right. I don't know. All my stuff is clean. I always make sure to air it out. I always make sure to get the acetone out, give it time to dry, run straight air through it before I ever put those things on there. Now, granted, I was in a rush, but I don't think that was it. So we'll see how it comes out. I'm going to pause the video because it's got to bake for like 2 fucking hours. So I don't think you want to sit here with me for 2 hours talking about how I fucked up. Maybe you do. I'm sure you will in the comments section. That's just fine. I don't care. You literally, you can't hurt my feelings. You can hope to want to try. But I've been fat my whole life. Remember that. My name is McLeod. So there can be only one. That's right. It's been a long time since someone's hurt my feelings. You're gonna get mad at me because I fucked up. That's what I thought. Anyways, we'll be back. Okay, before we look at the finished product here, I need to offer up a disclaimer for these videos, video 1 and video 2. I am not a certified Cerakote installer. Cerakote doesn't provide me with anything. I'm not paid advertising for them in any way, shape, or form. I absolutely refuse to pay the $2,500 fee to drive down to Medford for a day to have them tell me how to paint something. It's not rocket science. Anybody can do this in their fucking garage. So, as much as I do love Cerakote products, I think the idea that you have to pay $2,500 a person to go sit through a class where some schmuck treats you like you've never seen automotive paint before, and tell you how to like pre-bake it. I mean, I just can't imagine that it's worth the money that they're charging. I can't imagine that the amount of knowledge that you get from doing it is worth the money. I think essentially what you're paying for, which they'll probably get mad about this disclaimer too. I think essentially what you're paying for is you're paying for them to advertise for you. That's what the $2,500 is for. It's not for the education. Spending one day learning how to apply a product or how to properly clean your gun or whatever it is they're teaching people, because any kind of paint application is the same thing. You completely clean and sterilize all your products. You keep all the particulate matter on it. You have good ventilation. You have to make sure that you're not, like, nothing gets on the product. You know, it's de-oiled and degreased and all of those things. You know, baked out all the oils and stuff like that. Like, this isn't anything new in any kind of industry where you're applying paint. So, and I realize Cerakote is not paint, but it is in the ideology that preparation of the surface areas and all of that have to be basically the same. You can't have oils on the wood or the paint won't stick. You can't have oils on the metal or the Cerakote won't stick. This is not rocket science. Now, you're paying them for advertising. To get the certification, they'll list you as a certified applicator on their website, and that's what you're paying for. Not the knowledge, unless you absolutely don't have any understanding of how to apply products and how to apply things onto surfaces. You have zero education whatsoever. I would be really nice if they offered a less expensive class for those of us who aren't retarded. That would be nice. Because I'll bet you if they had 100 fucking question, exam for $100 that I could fucking ace that bitch. And there aren't even 100 different things that you need to know in order to make these applications. You already know, because if you watched my first video and you watched this video, that I made a mistake. But I also was easily able to remedy that mistake because I understand how the product works. So instead of going through a very long process of fixing my mistake, it cost me next to nothing to fix it. It's not complicated. Anyways, I'm not associated with Cerakote in any way, shape, or form. I do not have a certification for application of their products. I just know how to do it. So, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. I make mistakes. We all do. But if we don't make mistakes and we don't record them, then that's a little bit of narcissism, isn't it? And I'll bet you they don't talk about their mistakes as much as they'd love to. So anyways, we've got about another hour here of time. I'm going to make sure that I get my stuff ready so that way I can put my disclaimers in the description as well to let people know that I am not a certified installer. I'm just some schmuck in his garage that doesn't know shit about shit. Anyways, I'll see you guys in a few minutes when we reveal the finished product. Okay, so finished product. Don't mind the mess. I'm working on another gun, so I can get this to focus here. I don't know. My lighting kind of sucks, but I'll get it put together here in just a second, and we'll see if we can get her to glitter and shine in the light. But give me 1 second. I'll be right back. We'll see how she looks. All right, finished result. Let me grab a rack here real quick. I put it all together. Got a little greasy, so because you know I always grease my guns. Don't know how good the lighting is, but let's see if we can get a better angle here. And for some reason, this thing just doesn't want to play with me. Like, I literally can't get it. Hold on, I'm going to take it off the stand. Just can't get the light just right, but you can kind of see it. Dude, just looks so good. And this is an old gun. Like, I've Cerakoted this thing multiple times, just beating it up. And I gotta tell you, I like this. I wish my lighting was better, but I like this. Alright guys, you heard the disclaimer. I don't work for Cerakote, but that is super cool.